Hey folks. Hello. I'm live. Yes, I'm actually live. I promised to the other side that I would not be late today. So, keeping my promise. Okay, guys and gals, welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki. Please come on in and have a seat. Or grab some coffee if it's your daytime or nighttime or whatever that is that you need. I don't know how long I'm going to be on tonight. I say that every time. But truly, I don't. And I say it that way because a lot is going on. There's always a lot going on. But hey, Gayleen. Hey, Paramarv. I do a little bit of business here. I always need to do that because, hello, I'm on my own. This is what I'm doing. Why is this not pasting? Oh no, isn't that nice? So, basically today's topic of conversation, let me see if I can get this. There we go. Click, copy, save, and send. Yes, maybe. Okay, there we are. Anyway, so tonight is about more super soldiers. Tonight is also about what it's like being an abductee. And in that, I'm going to hit that up first. Because to me, that at this moment, it's kind of a big deal. I've gone through this, and a friend of mine just recently contacted me about this very subject, and so I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it full running, at least for right now, anyway. And that is the fact that if you are an ET abductee, one of the things that you will likely go through, depending upon which race of ET is taking you, that is the issue of them trying to force you to sleep. Now, if you're somebody who is wide awake and you may struggle periodically with, you're at work and you get sleepy, and it's that time of I was going to say the month. Good God, Nikki. And it's that time of the day where you typically get sleepy. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with if you are awake during specific hours that you don't get sleepy in, and that you're wide awake and you have taken, say you've got to take brain meds or meds that perk your brain up, or vitamin supplements or whatever it is, and you know for sure that you are wide awake and you should not be sleepy whatsoever, and you get I'm getting sleepier and sleepier and sleepier, and I can't figure out why. One of certain races of ETs, one of at least three that I can think of off the top of my head, one of them is what I call the tall whites. I don't know what else to call them. Sorry, my skin around my face has just been driving me nuts the last few weeks, and it's just, sorry. So this is something for you folks, for the ET abductees who experience this. So these races, I specifically refer to one because those are there's two of the same race who do this to me. One works with military, specifically U.S. military, but there are other tall whites, what I call tall whites. They may not be a true tall white, but that's what I'm calling them because I don't know what else to call them. If I knew, I would say it. But but they're anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall. I've heard that's the height range that I've heard. The ones that I deal with, they're 7 feet tall. Hey, hi Joe, come on in, dear. So the tall whites, this specific group of tall whites that take me, one set works with the Arcturians, who are blue or blue-green, depending upon who you talk to, or who you've seen, or what you have personally seen and witnessed and experienced. Because I've seen Arcturians that are both blue, and I've seen Arcturians that are hybrids of human that are both blue and green. That's a trip and a half. That's a totally another subject. But my point about these tall whites is that these tall whites, ETs, these are specific to ETs, folks. They are they're real specific. So the ones with the Arcturians, the ones with the governments, they're abducting in a very specific way. Both sides, they abduct in a very specific way. They will try to knock your ass out consciously because they want you unconscious so that when they take you, you're not going to be screaming and trying to throw it. It's easier on them. It's not easier on you. It's easier on them. Less questions. Basically, what happens is they're trying to knock out the higher consciousness. They're trying to put you to sleep so that they can abduct you. Not only so that you don't harm yourself, you don't harm them. That said, do I think it's right? Are you? No. I was about to say some very nice, not words. Anyway, so yeah, that's what it's like when you're dealing with them. They will knock your ass out, whether you are, for those that have come in that are not in chat, thank you for coming in, all 5 of you. I appreciate it. I know that more end up watching this later. But that's what it's like for some ET abductees. And just an FYI, if they have, now, I got to be careful how I'm going to say this because it's information that was just given to me. I've got to be really careful. If you, hey, Christine, hey, Trace, that's good to see you, hon. It's good seeing all of you. I thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you. So if you are an ET abductee and that is something that you have noticed is being, you're tired and you can't figure out why, and you know it's not a medical situation for you. I mean, you logically know this is not normal. Start thinking of that. If you're driving, in fact, this is what I'm going to say to this. Yeah, honey, you probably do. I've been learning a lot. We'll get into that in a few minutes, but I thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And I hope it's a good thing. Because the things that I've learned is just like mind blowing. So here's the thing. If you're driving and you experience that and you know damn well that it is not you and a medical situation, state in your head, in your own head, just like you're having self-talk. If you do not do self-talk, say this in your own voice out loud, because I have come across people that do not self-talk. I just, that kind of blew me out of the water when I learned that. But there are folks that do not do self-talk in their own head. They don't have that. So then what I would tell you is to verbally state this out loud and state, you are not taking me, either you're not taking me today or period, or you're not taking me until I am in a safe location to where my body can be relaxed, that I am in my chair, or that I'm in bed, or I'm wherever you designate, okay? This is a big deal, folks. I've actually kiboshed. I don't know how else to say it. I do, but it's just not coming to my head right now. If you have this experience, state to them, do not take me while I am in the shower, on the toilet, driving a vehicle, operating heavy machinery, operating something that is in a, do not tell them, because you have a right to say that to them. Not only do you have a right to say that to them, sometimes, not always, but sometimes they will actually frickin' listen to you. They will go, oh, it's convenient for us, but it's not convenient for them. They're not making that recognition. They don't give a shit. Part of it, some of them, the ones that deal with the government, they don't give a shit. That said, the ones that do, they will actually go, oh, okay, and they'll come back. Usually it's within a few minutes, but they will come back. I've done this for myself. I've actually told them, caught them doing this, and I'm like, I already know you're here. Quit trying to make me fall asleep. I'm wide the hell awake. I've taken all my stuff. I've taken all my vitamins. I've done enough B12 to choke a frickin' horse today because I'm going to be doing things. I'm going to be dealing with stuff. And you're trying to take me? I don't frickin' think so. You want to take me? I will, and this is the only way that I can get out of being abducted at that given moment in time. I will agree to be taken at a certain time that day. After I am home, after that, I've got to be able to rest. You want a body, that fine. Because otherwise they will knock your ass out and you're gone. I've had that. I've had that happen. So the thing that I was trying not to talk about, or not delve into a great deal. I will read the chat in just a moment because there's a few things in there that I want to be sure that I get to. One of the things that I wanted to say is that if you have learned that an ET race has moved into a mountain, created a base or a new base, take real notice of which ET race it is. That is a big deal, folks. That is a really, really big deal. And for them, it doesn't take them very long to create a base. In comparison to human military and activities, that can take a long freaking time for them to do it. They can do it, but the men and women in the military are treated absolutely deplorable about it. And I know that one firsthand because I witnessed it myself through a Sasquatch's eyes. I was allowed to be shown that, and I was horrified by what I was seeing and hearing. I know that up at a specific mountain. So just an FYI, you have the right to tell them, you're not taking me right now. This is what I am doing. This is what I'm scheduled to be doing. You're going to create more problems than you think. So, put them on a frickin' schedule. My opinion on it. But anyway, okay, so Para is asking me a question. Any thoughts on why these advanced beings resort to kidnapping rather than simply asking for permission to run some tests, take samples, etc.? Para, there are a number of factors to that. It's an excellent question, and one everybody asks, and every right to ask that question. Okay, I gotta not read chat when I'm trying to respond to somebody. That's funny. Okay, so in answer to that question, Paramarv, resort to kidnapping rather than simply asking. All right, part of this goes to the genetic factors. if you have a genetic factor in your family dynamics, in your family history for the bloodline, then you're going to have ETs watching, observing, and most likely abducting that bloodline. And that could be for generations. That could be for hundreds of years, if not 1,000 years. So, I mean, seriously, that's a big deal. Many bloodlines, there's, oh God, what is it? I'm trying to remember this. I don't remember if it's 5, 7, or 9 specific bloodlines across the planet. I know this information. I can't pull it into the forefront of my memory right now because I'm trying not to be scattered, because there's a lot to be talked about in a very short amount of time tonight. I had anticipated 7 to 8 o'clock, but we'll see. I don't want to. Matter of fact, I should probably check to be sure, because I don't want to go over a specific time because of a specific group. Where are you? Hello, folks. Where are you? Where are you? So basically, there you are. I don't remember what time they come on. I don't remember if it's at 8 o'clock or... No, it's at 9. Yeah, 8 o'clock. So, yeah. So I've got 44 minutes. So that's what I wanted to be sure of. So basically, folks, you have the right to say, I don't want to be abducted right now. You know, and if they are going for the bloodline, those are the ones that will come in and start talking about how they want to have things done. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. How they want to have things done. They will try to abide by certain things, certain guidelines that you put out. Not always, but they will at least try. And it's extremely frustrating. So there's that side of it, Paramarv. And like the ones that I get. So when I read permission to run some tests, that is, and take samples. When I read that part of your question, dear, it literally brought me back to the moment I was sitting in this chair. It was, I think this chair cover was on at the time. And what was it that I had done? I was sitting at my, I was sitting at a table, but I was in this chair, and I knew I was going to be taken at some point because I heard the high pitch. So here's the thing with when you find out that it's not a medical situation. For example, I've had my ears checked up one side and down the other because I have what some would classify as tinnitus. The funny thing is that I don't have tinnitus. I have on my this is my right ear. On my right ear, I have hierarchy, spirits, and some excuse me, sometimes the ET spirit guide that I've got they'll all hit me on the right side of my head with the right side for hearing for all the paranormal stuff. The ETs, however, hit me on my left side. This ear gets the brunt of it for all the ET stuff, and it gets really wicked sometimes. So this ear gets overused, and so when on top of it, there is, although there has not been found an ET device, I have had MRIs. We have not, to my knowledge, have not come across those in medical, but I have come to find out they have one behind this ear, but they've also got one in my sinuses in a very specific way. And that one I'd like them to remove. That's a totally different subject, but because it screws with it screws with a specific blood vessel, and they literally rupture that blood vessel almost every time they take me. And it's very frustrating, which I don't understand why. I know that I've got devices in me, but yet some of them are not showing up. I don't understand that at all. I do know that they do use bio, not mechanical. It's a bio device. I just can't think of the word. And it will create a pocket around it. So on some MRIs and I was going to say X-rays. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not the word I'm looking for. MRIs and oh fuck balls. What the hell is the name of it? CT scan. CT. I was trying to say the name for the letter C, and I can't think of it at this second. Anyway, the point is, it literally, it will literally pop up. Medically, it'll pop up looking like a. Thank you. You used the word cyst. It'll look like a small cyst. Bioorganic, yes. Yeah. So it doesn't come across as anything. I've even had my mastoid cavities checked, and let me tell you, that's not fun. Don't recommend that to anybody. No. Bad. Really bad pain. So yeah, you can have a lot of ET activity and have things show up or not show up medically, and you're going, how the hell is this possible? So not only do they have the bio devices, they've also got the other typical tracking devices. I've recently heard, and I actually know somebody. I'll be careful. I'll think of how I want to say this. I know somebody who had a device that moved when it was trying to be pulled out. Now, I've heard of that, but I didn't remember coming across them before until recently. Interesting thing is I've also heard other people talk about that in the last couple of years, and I'm like, well, that's a first, because I only heard that a year and a half, 2 years ago, and now I'm coming across people, and there's one person that I'm like, oh, that's a mind trip. I mean, you want to screw with somebody. That's you have a device implanted in you. This is not what I anticipated in talking about, folks. What the hell am I keeps? Oh, it's the light on over in the, okay. Not what I had anticipated talking about. I anticipated talking more about the super soldier stuff, but basically, yeah, you and you can have devices implanted. It's very specific how it's done, but you can have devices implanted in your aura. Learned that one the hard way. Real hard way. So, and they can be in your chakra system. They don't have to physically be in your body. They can be implanted into your chakra system. Figure that one out, folks. I can't even, it just goes above and beyond. I mean, that's a specific kind of really wicked tracking. Okay, so, but what I was going to say, permission to run some tests, take samples. So I was vaccinated. The ETs gave me while I was, that's what I was going to talk about. While I was sitting in this chair that one night, they came up. I had one, and I could feel them because they were trying to knock me out. And the next thing I know, I'm recognizing the fact that I can't turn my head to the right. I can't turn my head at all. And I'm sitting there, and all I could do, and that my head is stuck in kind of like this, like, I don't know quite how to, I was kind of like this position to where it stretches the back of the neck, one side of the neck out. And I was stuck in that position. And it's because that's the position that they caught me in. And they literally put an energy vortex, not a vortex, god damn, Nikki, sorry. An energy bubble around me. It literally, and it's a time, here's the other thing, it's a time bubble. That, I can't even, it's a freaking time bubble. 3 minutes. I was in that thing for 3 minutes. And the reason I know that is because I had a clock up on the wall in front of me, and I had a digital thing down below my TV. I can't think of what that was called. Anyway, point is that they came in, they put me in, I'm going to call it stasis because I don't know what else to call it, but it was this time bubble. I couldn't move. And I'm literally screaming in my head, "What did you do to me? What is going on?" And I could look down, and I felt this really sharp pain go into my my arm, my left arm. And I'm like, "What are you doing to me? What is so important that you have to force me to physically stop moving in every moment, everything?" And they're like, "We're giving you an inoculation." An inoculation for what? Tell me in detail. What the hell are you injecting in me? Well, then I basically eventually got told that it was like a form of bio nanites, which I didn't even know could exist. I'm not happy about that. I'm still pissed by it. But I get that they were inoculating me for something that was in the process of coming. Now I'd have to go back and look. I have it stuck in my head that this was after the time that I had COVID. So that would have put it in March of 2021. 2021? March, April, May, somewhere in that time frame. And I'd have to go look at my psychic notebooks to go look at my old ones to find it. But that's a big deal. So you can, I lost my shit over that. I was not okay. I'm like, just ask me. I literally had to tell them, if you want to do this kind of stuff, come show up. You know, do a on a wall. Let me know that you're here. Don't just show up and scare the shit out of me, you know, visually. I said, because you know what kind of reaction I'm going to have with that. But just let me know you're here. Knock on a wall, whatever. And show yourself, you know. But give me some heads up so I don't freak the fuck out. They hate that. They hate me using the both them and the Fae hate it when I say the F word. Absolutely. Oh man, that is such a violation to them. Anyway, it's probably why I say it a lot. Just to annoy them. Not all of them, some of them. But I'm like, you want to take skin scrapings? Let's have fine. I want to watch you do it. If they had done that in front of me, this little frickin', well, it's a square. Because I felt it. They literally immobilized. They literally immobilized my arm in midair. I was literally doing this, and they immobilized my arm in midair. I'm like, there are things that you but they're very science oriented, very in and out, and that's how it is, and that's how it's going to be. They want things done. They don't want to have to explain. It's boom, 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 boom. It's almost like blank. How do I say this? Fuck you very much is what it reminds me of. There's 9. Hello to all the 9. Okay, so let me go in. So that's what that reminded me of, Paramarv. I know that was a long, 15-minute long-winded blah. Trace, it's kind of like narcolepsy or cataplexy moments. Yes. Yeah, for some people it can be in abductions. I mean, not everybody's taken like that. But there are specific races of ET that will take their, I was going to say perspective, but it's not perspective when they're doing it on a regular basis. Anyway, when they're taking their abductee. And the word abductee and contactee mean 2 very different things in ufology. So if those of you that don't know that, there's a huge difference. One has a very negative connotation and the other one is more positive. I'm both. I've had both experiences. I will always call myself an abductee. I probably will be in my 90s by the time I say I'm a contactee, because I get so angry over, and I'm in an angry state right now, which is understandable. I'm pretty pissed off over what I'm remembering and regarding the soldier stuff that I'm remembering. And just an FYI, you do not have to be what is the word that I'm looking for? You do not have to be someone who has been subdivided. You do not have to have alters to be a soldier for them. Just an FYI. I'm a living example of that. They put me into use as a pilot. It's a whole nother freaking subject. Anyway, so my point is about all of this is there are many different aspects of ET abductions. There are many different methods that they do, because they are so logical. Okay, think of it this way. Almost everybody knows what the TV show and movie series Star Trek is. Think of it as the my God, I can't think of the character. All I can think of is the character. I can't think of what his race is. Spock. Vulcan. He's a Vulcan. So the character Spock in that series is a Vulcan. Think of some of these ETs in that regard. Very legalistic, very logical, sequential, organized, oriented. Think of them that way. Because this boils down to your understanding, your comprehension level of this. And for those that are having a hard time with grasping the concept of what this is like dealing with a group of people who are Vulcan. Okay? Out of that TV show, out of that movie series. That's what it's like. The difference is you're also dealing with, that's the language side of it. That's also the mentality and the side that they deal with. Now, because this comes down to your guys' understanding. In the grand scheme of things, this really comes down to how you understand it. and how you can relate to it. Most people know Star Trek, know that series in detail because, hello, they're a Trekkie fan. Not everybody's a Trekkie fan. Believe me, I know this, especially when you've got Star Wars fans versus Star Trek fans. Holy crap, big difference between the two. All of that said, it's very different in how you perceive this, okay? Because especially after what I learned the last couple of weeks, with some people that have known me for over 25 years, others who have known me for a year, they're having a hard time wrapping their head around this. So I'm going to put this into terminology that everybody can grasp a hold of, if that's what it takes, because it's there's an understanding that needs to happen across this planet, and an understanding to where people that are questioning this, that are going, well, how the hell can that happen because our science is this way and this way alone? Well, we've got to go outside of our knowledge of science. That's what it boils down to. And if you have a hard time wrapping your head around that, this subject's going to be difficult for you. And that too is understandable. But everybody has some fashion or form of an experience regarding ETs, whether you realize it or not. Now, you may have seen something while driving. I'm going to use I-5 because I live in Washington State. I-5 runs north to south, south to north, up and down the state, basically. I-90 runs west to east. So, and I-5 is just easier for me. I don't know, just because of that one specific corridor. Anyway, my point is that say you're driving on I-5, whatever interstate, you're driving on it. You look up, doesn't matter what time of day or night, you look up and you notice something in the sky and you're like, what the hell is that? Well, you can't do anything because you're driving. Hello, it's illegal in most states to take out your phone and start recording. So unless you've already got something on your dashboard that's mounted and you can hit record and aim it up, you're most likely not going to get anything. Most people don't think on their feet like that to get pictures. That said, there are going to be people who are driving at the same exact moment in time who are completely oblivious. Now, part of that can be because of them being the person that witnessed it, because they may be an experiencer already, or they may understand or have some concept of the paranormal, or it could also be simply and solely because of the fact that the ETs wanted that specific person to see them. Yeah, it can be that simple. It can be that that way. Does that mean that you're targeted? Not necessarily. It just means that you were supposed to see that at that given moment in time. But maybe too, it was that way so that you would open up your mind more. It's another aspect of it. Okay, so the soldier stuff. I told you once I started remembering more, I would start talking about more. I've remembered quite a bit more. I made the realization of where the 380 million number came from, the money amount came from. I opened up more of that memory, and I was pretty upset to open it up. But I opened it up, and funny enough, I did that during when I was with people and who are support to me, and it was a big shock because I literally saw that the reason I have that number stuck in my head is because we were screamed at. There were somewhere between 8 to 10 of us, possibly 12 of us, because we were a team. We were lined up. I do not want the fine details right now, which means I don't want to see my uniform. I do not want to see I call them the birds, they're not birds, the ships that were almost directly across from me. But basically, all of us were standing in a line and we were getting chewed out by our commander. And he was screaming at us that we are worth, that we individually are worth $380 million because that is what they put into us. And yet, the way they're using people. So my anger comes very, I was going to say sporadic is not the right, but it's not the right word. I go through, when I go through memories like this, I get angry. I allow myself to go through the feelings. I will not allow myself to take that out on anybody because that's bullshit behavior. That is derogatory, negative. I will not allow myself to do that. That said, it is a very big deal that any of us are being taken, no matter what it's for. Whether you are being taken for ETs, for hybridization program, which is usually what most people are taken for. Not always, but quite a few. There's a lot more going on with that. But then you've got the ETs who are working with global government for various reasons. And one reason that I know of personally is because of what they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to build, what they're trying to protect, and they're trying to protect Earth. I get that. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with how they're doing things and the fact that they are, as Paramar says, kidnapping. And I have said the word kidnapping before because that's what it is. It is kidnapping us as children, and I'm not okay with that, folks. I don't think you should be either. In my opinion, I don't think anybody would be. So there are ways that it's being done and handled. And I know that I am supposed to be talking about this. So I'm going to be consistently talking about it. Okay, Amy. Hi, Amy. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm not okay with a lot of this. I know that my soul has a soul contract with the ET race that is doing the abductions for hybridization. I know that I have been asked if that has happened in, I think it was Paramarv actually that asked me last time, if I've had that happen in, if it wasn't you, it was somebody else. Anyway, if I've had that happen in other lifetimes, yes, I have. The interesting thing is that I don't believe it took place. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it took place in. Oh, I am wrong. Oh my God. They got a royal bloodline. Holy fuck. Sorry. I just made a realization. I just made a really significant realization. They've got a bloodline of royalty. There was one of my lifetimes where I was in a royal family. I've never said who. Yeah, Paramarv just asked, can a soul contract carry over to the next life or lives? Yes, it can. It depends on how you have your soul contract. It can. I didn't think, I knew that I had one in the 1800s. I thought that it skipped. There were 2 out of the 5 kids that were taken. Holy shit. I don't know which 2, and I don't remember why. Holy fuck, they've got a royal bloodline. I'm sorry, folks. I'm completely blown away by that. I don't know why, but I know who I was in that timeline. I know very well there are things that I can have a conversation with that there's no way in hell that I could possibly know information. Hey, Alice. Blood type. Yeah, there are. A lot of O's get taken regarding blood type, but then again, there are okay, so that's what I know. In order to answer that question, Alice, yes. But that's what I've heard from a lot of different folks. So it's not just me saying yes to that. There's a lot of different people that truly believe that. They believe it for a reason. What the hell was that? Oh, it's got a sharp spot on it. Sorry, I've got one of my small footrests down there, and it caught my ankle. But I know this, Alice. If it is for a blood type, they're watching that blood type for a specific reason. That means there's something going on with that blood type. But bloodline, they will take for generations upon generations. Now, I know that I'm in a bloodline that they are watching. Yeah, Alice is saying also family members, as you discussed last live. Yeah. I've got family members. So like I honestly believed for a long time that it was just me. Until I had my memory of my mom and I in that van. I actually pieced that together. I was like, and the memory just is like it exploded. And I was like, oh my God. And it was so intense. So that memory that I talk about with my mom and I driving, or with my mom driving, and I was a little kid, because I couldn't understand, and it was a repressed memory, and I had large chunks of what I thought were the repressed memory remembered, but there were chunks of it that were missing, and when I made the realization that I woke up in the back of the van, but that's not where I started out from. When I made that realization, that was my break in my memory. And it broke open the rest of the memory of actually being abducted. And that's when I really lost it, because that was when I made the realization that my mom has been an abductee her entire life. While she was pregnant with me, to make that realization, then to make the realization that my grandfather, her dad, was an abductee. I just, that's hard. That was really hard. Here's the interesting thing. If you're an abductee and you're in a relationship, here's something that I went through. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they're with you all the time, or if you live with somebody and you're an abductee, you might want to check in with those you live with or with your spouse or your partner, whoever that is, because it's very possible that they are too. And that you both are being taken at the same time. Now, I know somebody that happens with. Their partner tries to pull them back. I'm like, you're not going without me. So, and that can be both physical, or it can be higher consciousness, where the ETs are taking the higher consciousness and not the body. And yes, that can be done. I don't give two shits if you come at me about that. I know it can be done. I'm an experiencer of it. I've witnessed it for myself. It can be done. All they'd have to do is, well, I don't know if they're still using it, but they had a little device that goes right over the forehead, and it divides out different sections of the consciousness. And yeah, consciousness can be divided out. I've been at home in bed knowing that I am fully asleep, knowing that I am controlling my own dream, and yet dreaming, and at the same time, my higher consciousness is in one of my clone bodies, and I remember everything. And you think that's a trip? That's nothing in comparison to what else I've experienced. So yes, they can abduct you physically, but they can also abduct your higher consciousness form, or different levels of your higher there's technically 3 or 4 versions of different levels of your higher consciousness that they can take. They typically don't take the one that's directly attached to the soul. That usually stays with the soul. So it's really shocking, really rather appalling. Para, I just love that comment. I've got to be honest, if I ever get a secret base inside a mountain, I'm changing my name to Batman and fighting crime. I love that. Just freaking love that. That's awesome. Bioorganic, so that it looks normal to doctors. Yeah. Amy, I've been here the last 40 minutes. Nothing to note. Okay. Para, soul contract. Alice. Okay, so I'm done through the chat. All right, I wanted to be sure that I got through. So regarding the soldiers, so 53 minutes into this last few minutes, and then go watch. After my show is done, go set up and watch Spaced Out Radio. Lee Strauss and oh my God. I can't believe honey, I'm sorry. Go watch Element 115. Jax, I couldn't think of your name. Oh my God, woman. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Go watch Lee Strauss and Jax on Element 115. They are wonderful. I love the two of them together. They're just, the energy with them is just really good. And it gets Lee's information out there, and Jax has got a lot of excellent information. So I highly recommend you guys go watch them after mine. That said, 6 minutes left. Okay, so regarding the soldier stuff, I did draw sketch out last night. Was it last night? Last night. What is it? No, it was last night. Now, if I put this up, you guys are going to screenshot it. Whatever. So the image that I've got in my head of the lieutenant, and I'm going to call him a lieutenant. Well, I know what he is, but he's a lieutenant. He was a commander. Space Force. And I'm calling it Space Force because I don't know what else to call it. So I drew this out. We're standing in a huge, gigantic, oh shit. I don't remember what we call, I do not remember the word right now. It's where you, it's where all the ships take off from. Bay. I gotta write that word down. It's gonna drive me nuts. Landing. It's a landing bay is what it is, but it's a, oh crap. See, now this is from the fucking targeting. This just irritates the crap out of me. Anyway, it's not a cargo bay, but it's huge. It's a huge, big hangar. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you, Para. So we're standing in this gigantic hangar bay. Hangar bay. That's the terminology I was trying to get my head to say. Hangar bay. Oh, it's because I haven't taken my stuff today for my brain. Okay. I got my food in. I just didn't get my vitamins down. And so in this bay, we are standing, there's between 8 to, I say 8 to 10, but my brain says 8 to 12. So we're standing in a row, right? And we've got one guy standing in front of us. That is so we're all standing. Oops. We're all standing right here. We got this lieutenant standing in front of us. Yelling, screaming, carrying on because we didn't follow his explicit orders. Okay? And I remember thinking, and I am going to say my thoughts. Well, you motherfucker, get your goddamn ass out in the field then instead of bitching us out and a bunch of other things I thought of. But anyway, that was, you quit bitching us out. You get your ass out in the field where it's supposed to be and do what it's supposed to do instead of standing there going beep, 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 wah. That was how I felt about it. I was really pissed. I was really pissed because we didn't follow the orders to the letter. But it got the job done. What we did got the job done, and it brought every single one of us back. And with how he did it, it would have gotten most of us killed, over half of us killed. So that's what I say to that. And we had figured out that it was deliberately to kill some of us off. And we were like, no, we're not doing that. We're not allowing that to happen. So here we are in this flight hangar bay. We're in this hangar bay, and the whole reason why I drew this row is because my brain, and I did it like this because that's the area behind this guy, this lieutenant. This is the area behind him that is filled with ships. It's filled with very specific kinds of ships. And I didn't want the fine details of who all that was. And who it was that was coming and going, who was getting in and out of the vehicles, who was ships, fight vehicles, whatever. And how it was being taken care of. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely stunned and rather horrified by what I just read. You gotta be... Nikki, shut it. Oh my God. Point being... Sorry, I don't like what I just read. It has nothing to do with anything in the chat. Something just popped up on my screen, and I just found out who was being interviewed, and I'm not enthusiastic about it. Anyway, because there's things I know. Anyway, so I put this box there in the picture. So that's why there is a box. So it was this gigantic hangar bay, and we had all of us standing in a row and back there. And so there are times where my memory will show that it was just us standing there and the hangar bay was empty. And then I get flashes to where we're standing there, and it's a separate memory, and but we're being yelled at. And it's from that memory of where he's talking about the $380 million that they put into us per person to train us. And that's what we cost to them. We're $380 million. So all of us were in clone bodies. None of us were in our own physical body at that time. So that tells you how many consciousnesses had been removed from the body, physical body. Those were left at home. That means that we were all physically at home, asleep, and yet our higher consciousnesses were, our extreme of the extreme higher consciousnesses were in our clone bodies with the higher consciousness doing this work for the government and the ETs, other specific races of ET. Now, I know that the Arcturians can do this too. They can take the consciousness out. Or not they can subdivide the consciousness. I know that. Excuse me, I've experienced it before with them, but in different ways, and it's something that I have not talked about. I don't know if I ever will. But the consciousness where it's consistently removed, higher consciousness where it's consistently removed like this, is specific to MiLabs. It is specific. MiLabs are specific to essentially super soldiers. And I can hear somebody screaming, no, they're not, but they are. They're a part of MiLabs, our military labs. They are part of a soldier program that revolves around space, that revolves around militaristic use of people, of humans, of abductees, to be used in their form of space force. I don't know what else to call it. Force. I don't call it force. It's space soldiers is what I call it. I mean, that's what I've always called it. That I mean, I had somebody tell me that they remember me because they remember me giving them, on each one of our missions, they remember me giving them a certain piece of candy because I always carried it with me. Well, that actually makes sense to me because chocolate has always been a blood sugar. It will elevate the blood sugar really, really fast if you're in a crisis. I mean, not the kind where you're, in the process of going into diabetic coma or diabetic shock or anything like that. It's different. But so that makes sense to me. I've also been recognized and told that that people recognize for example, somebody here in chat earlier recognized my voice. I've had people tell me that they couldn't figure out where they know me. They know me by my voice. Well, that's for some of them because of the fact that I was in their ear set. I was on their headphones while they were doing whatever op they were on, because I was in command room being given orders and directing people to do different things, so that it gets very personal. When you're wearing headphones and you've got a mouthpiece, and you're giving somebody explicit directions in certain things, it's very, very personal. Because I was that person's last line of safety. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I mean, they're using us in ways that that's why I get so angry. And I go through rounds to where I process. This is a process. That's why I say this is a process, because you're literally piecing all of this together. You're literally creating. Sorry, I just had a bunch of things run through my head all at once. You're literally creating, rebuilding your memory, not creating. You're literally rebuilding your memories. You're not creating memories, because that would all be a fake and a lie. You're rebuilding them piece by piece. You've gotten flashbacks, little flashbacks of things that you can't figure out where they belong in your life and how they belong in your life. And you're trying to figure out if is this psychic information? Wait a minute, that doesn't jive. This doesn't jive with what I know. This doesn't jive with the psychic information that I know. This doesn't jive. And then you're recognizing the fact that it's through your eyes and not through somebody else's. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal. When I had repressed memories of the childhood sexual abuse, all I remembered was a yellow room. Hated yellow rooms for years. Years and years and years and years. When all of my memories came crashing back of what had taken place to me, it made sense, because the yellow is what I focused on. It was my way of disassociation. And your brain goes into hyperprotection mode as children. So a lot of things that we as experiencers, ET abductees and ET military abductees, what you experience is, it can get really convoluted sometimes. You might have little flashbacks that are so innocuous. You're like, where the hell did that come from? And then you talk yourself out of it. A lot of people do that because it's easier to do that than to deal with what has actually taken place. It's hard. And I'm 10 minutes over, or 8 minutes over. So, anyway, that's one of the memories that I've got. Regarding this lovely little thing, being in a hangar bay there, and it was huge. God, it was huge. It was so big, in fact, that when this lieutenant was yelling and screaming at us, sorry, my brain just was like trying to get, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna fucking say the word. I'm not saying the guy's name. Do I know it? Yes, I know it. He wasn't just a lieutenant. He was lieutenant with a couple of other credentials, but that's beside the point. And I know that I am being watched and listened to, because meaning those who have been doing the abducting, that are military, that are deep, they want to know what I remember. They want to, and they know that I'm telling the truth. 380 million. There's no way I could have come up with that number, not even as a psychic. I mean, That came so far out of the blue, it wasn't even funny. I was like, where the hell did 380 million come from? And then I started having these little flashbacks. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean we're worth 380 million? Oh my God. And then I remembered that's what was invested. That was the word. That's what we invested in each of you. It was 380. And then million. And then the word dollars, as in US dollars. How the hell could I have ever come up with that number? Well, it's because I didn't come up with that number. That number was yelled and screamed at to all 8 of us, 10 of us, 12 of us, whatever. There were a number of us that were there. It was one row. And we were all standing at attention, being screamed at. I had a weird cap on too. I can feel it on my head. It's like I can feel it right now. It's different than a baseball cap. It's very different. And I think that's probably why I hate wearing hats. It's because of them. I will enjoy a great sun hat, but I really dislike wearing baseball hats. I really dislike them. I now understand why. So anyway, so that's I'm having more and more memories and more flashbacks of stuff, and it's coming up, and it's time that it's coming up, and it's time now in my timeline, in our timeline, that this is coming up, because we've got to be talking about this. We have to be talking about what is taking place. In order for us to be making changes, we have to talk to each other. We have to get this kind of information out. And we've got to put a stop to some certain things that are taking place, such as protecting the children. We've got to be protecting our children. And we're not doing a very good job of it. Look at how many are taken. There's a huge purpose for a lot of it, and it's not okay. And I'm not talking about the ones that are going through abuses. I'm not talking about the atrocities that we do. This is a different form of trafficking, folks. It's a very, very different form of trafficking, and it needs to stop. It needs to come to an end. Do I think that we should be protecting our Earth? Yes. Do I think that we need to have a Space Force? Yes, I do. Everything in my body, every cell in my being tells me we need to have some sort of protection of a Space Force in order to keep this planet and our sector of this galaxy safe. Alice, were you basically with the same abductees most of the time when taken as soldier platoon? Yes. So that's an excellent question, Alice. That I've never been asked that too, by the way. In answer to that question, yes. Different platoon. Okay. A platoon is an extremely large team. Just to make that clarification, we were. Oh God, I had the word, now it's gone. Shit. Oh, this is because I haven't taken my stuff today. Sorry. I made a promise to the other side that I would come on time. I would be here on time. Hunted coyotes. Okay. Welcome to my chat, Hunted Coyotes. I appreciate you coming in. This is where I'm going to say, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. What do they look like? Okay, who is they? Which one are you referring to? That's what I want to know. Are you referring to the race of ET, or are you referring to the humans that do the abducting too? Okay, so since you're new, since hunted coyotes is new here, ET. Okay. Para, I'll read yours in just a moment. Really over time. So there's a number of ETs that I see. What I call the tall whites are the ones that actually do the physical abducting or the abduction of the higher consciousness. They look like a form of a gray, but their skin is so pale and gray that it literally, from a distance, it looks white. They range in height from 6 feet tall up to 9 feet tall. The ones that I deal with are 7 feet tall. I've actually, this one's a form of duct tape, but I've got blue painter's tape. I've got a roll of blue painter's tape. And what I do is in my bedroom, I don't have it up right now, but in my bedroom, in the kitchen, in the living room, and in certain areas of the hallway, I'm going to be, like I did at my other apartment, I'm going to be putting up masking tape for 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall, and 8 feet tall. And anything above 8 feet tall, it's going to get close to my ceiling. So, because my ceiling is 9.2 or 9.6 or something like that. The point being is that little line gives me an idea, because things happen so fast and so quickly. It'll tell me how tall the ET was that I saw, that and that's the only way that I can do it. Now, what they look like, so a form of a gray, you've got the almond eyes, the big almond eyes. They're solid black. The solid black is a I was just about to say a peel and stick. That's not what I mean. It's a lens that protects their eyes itself. So when they're off ship and all of that, it actually protects the eyes, it lubricates the eyes, it does a bunch of other things. Keeps the light on Earth. There's something about the light on Earth that affects their eyes a very specific way, hurts them. So this goes literally over the actual eyeball itself. So you get the long, skinny arms and legs. Regarding that, hang on a second. Okay, so that I can deal with later. I just wanted to be sure it wasn't something huge and vital and all this stuff. So anyway, so you've got these long, skinny arms, long, skinny legs. Hands can range anywhere from three fingers to 5 fingers. So usually the ones that I see usually have 4. So it's usually like like this. So you get the 3 fingers, only they're divided out more, and you get a thumb, opposable thumb. Toes, feet are a bit different. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. Usually I'm looking at a 4-toed, 4-fingered, 4-toed. Typical spindly legs, typical knees, typical joints, typical feet. I've had ETs that have oh honey, they'll walk right through a guard dog. So Hunted Coyotes said they don't come round guard dogs with a question mark, and oh yes, they do. Dogs don't like them. Usually, most of them. They'll freak the dog out, and the dog will get. But it depends on what frequency. If they are okay, so here's the thing: when they're walking around your home, they're in a completely different frequency. So they're going to be walking through walls. They're going to be walking through the beds. They'll walk through furniture. It's nothing to them because they're in a completely different frequency. So, so the dogs can either smell them because there is a scent, there is an odor with an ET. Most ETs, just like most humans, have their own scent. Ouch. Their own energy, all of it. It all comes into play like that. So, okay, I gotta move this. I don't need to move this over. There we go. So basically, you can have a tall, and I call them tall white because their skin is solid white. I mean, from a distance, that's what they look like. You get them up close, that's not what they look like at all. It's the palest of palest gray. There are other ETs. You had asked about ET. There are other ETs. I've seen Laborians. They are about 8, 9, 10 feet tall. That range, 8 to 10. They're huge. They look like human, but they're a shapeshifter. They literally shapeshift into felines. I've seen Lyrans. Not many, but I have seen Lyrans. Lyrans are also a form of feline. The Laborians, their nails, when they shapeshift, I've seen them shapeshift from human to feline, complete feline, upright feline. I've also seen them down on the ground, four legs, or well, 2 arms, 2 like whatever. Anyway, it's just that's how they do things. Their nails, their claws in Laborian form retract. They don't always have their claws when they shapeshift. Yeah, Alice says as felines they are large. Yeah, they're huge. I mean, they're just gigantic. Ouch, squeaky. So there's that aspect to it. There's also ETs that I've seen that are the females are 8 feet tall, the males are 9 feet tall. And they're reptilian-like. They do not have a tail. Their skin is very reptilian-like. They are big. The females are svelte, but they're big. The males are just, the muscle on the males are just, oh my God, huge. And they've got a very specific odor. Their legs come forward to what we would call a knee joint, then they go backwards to another joint and then come down onto a leg, but also onto a foot. So you've got the, say this is a foot, you've got or a pad to a foot, and you've got the toes down here. It comes up to this joint. Oh God, comes up this way. Oh God, I get lost when I do this. So down to the knee joint, back to another knee joint, down to like an ankle joint and then down to the toes. I can only do it in reverse. Yeah, he could fight crime with me. Yeah. So there's those. Oh God. There's ETs that I have seen that are green. There's ETs that I've seen that are blue. There's ETs that I've seen that are tan or cream, tanny beigey cream color. They've got what I call ear flaps or head flaps up here. Hunted coyotes. Some jellyfish reminds me of ETs at sea. Yeah. Just an FYI, there are octopus type ETs. There's also octopus type paranormal parasites. That's always fun to deal with them. I don't like them. They're nasty little buggers. Thankfully, they're on their own planet. That's a whole nother. Well, not always. Anyway, they like traversing wormholes and vortexes. I don't recommend them by any stretch. And they are a paranormal parasite. Anyway, that said, that's a whole different subject. That deals with the psychic stuff I've dealt with, and the paranormal stuff I've dealt with. Well, hello. I'm just going to call you 104 because I can't state what that is. Wise wig? Wise eye wig 104. Anyway, welcome to my chat. Welcome to the new folks who have come in. You have seen octopus ETs. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. WYSIWYG. Ah, there we go. Thank you, Paramarv. I appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, I apologize, folks. If you want to go and watch, I totally get it. I totally understand. So what you get 104. Got it, WYSIWYG. So yeah, there are a lot of other ETs I've seen. I've seen other ETs with bent backward legs. Interestingly enough, none of them really look like any of the things that I've seen in movies with bent backwards legs, which I find that incredible. But there are some movies that have had ETs. I'm like, who the hell wrote that? And then I go searching for who wrote the script for the movie, because the description and what they've done in Hollywood, I'm just like, oh my God, that is an actual race of ET. They got it spot on, and I'm like, holy shit, who wrote that, and who gave that idea, and who did that description? And you do get things like that. If you've ever seen a Shimmer, an ET Shimmer, I am here to tell you, I have not seen that very often. I think I've only seen it twice. Now, I know I've seen it more than once. And I know I haven't seen it more than 3 times. Anyway, so when you get an ET Shimmer, that it's very similar to, oh, I just realized what my eyes did. Oh, isn't that fun? I need to do some eye teaming. Muscle teaming, that's fun. Anyway, so yeah, it can get really interesting with some of these beings, some of these ETs. They can be really big. They can be really small too. I've seen, Hang on a second, folks. I'm going to turn. Which way am I turning? I'm turning it this way so that we don't. Here we go. Okay, ouch. I had to get my tape measure. 3 feet. 2 feet, 3 feet. Yep. I've seen the 3 foot tallers, ETs, the grays that, and they're very much gray. They've got the big head, that kind of thing. So there's so many different versions. I don't know what to call them. There's so many different types of gray. So I typically, what's easiest for me is I go by size, how tall they are, and what shape their head is, because that's the key factor. Yeah, if it's who I think it is, Amy, that I am not enthusiastic about. That's why I don't want anything to do with, yeah. I could tell stories, but anyway. And he was brought to the group because of one person, so that I'm not enthusiastic about, and most folks know who that is. Anyway, so that I go by. So one of the things that I personally go by regarding the ETs to distinguish the grays, which race it is I go by the height. And yeah, I will. I'll talk about them in just a minute, Trace. She's asking, will you talk about the 3 foot tall ones? Yeah. So I go by the 3 foot tall one. I go by the height, and I go by the shape of the head. Then I go by the so you have the height, you have the shape of the head, and how the neck is attached. Because what I have learned is that you'll get some that, if anybody remembers the Cardassian race in Star Trek, where you've got that, it reminds you of a snake. Well, there are some grays that have that kind of a neck. And if it's the long, skinny neck, or a short neck, or if you've got that wide neck that comes down and it reminds you of the Cardassian race on that TV show, then you're dealing with a completely different being altogether, and you got to be really, really careful, because some of those can be really negative, really detrimental, and really difficult to deal with. The ones that that remind me of little bobbleheads, big head, super skinny neck, whether it's short neck or long neck, they're all different. They're all a different being. They're all a different race, from my understanding. Somebody else may tell you something different. This is how I understand it, how I remember it. And like I have said for years, every person, every experiencer experiences something similar but different. It is specific to them. So what I am describing to you may be something similar, but it's regarding the ETs, it may be real close or it may be dead on, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the attitude that you experienced is the same attitude that I experienced with what I have been through. So keep that in mind when you're trying to go back through your memories and you're trying to deal with your experiences, and whether it was difficult or easy or happy or sad, whatever. remember that it's your experience and that it's not going to be exactly the same as everybody else's. And that's one of the things that a lot of newbies don't make the realization of early on. So they're trying to experience everything and get all the information that they can. Things take time. When you're an experiencer and you're really remembering big chunks of things, but a lot of things still don't make sense, you're going to be remembering for the rest of your life, provided you're not with Alzheimer's or some kind of mental illness thing that affects all of that. There's a big difference. So do your due diligence for yourself and in how you perceive how you think about things, how you write. Have a notebook, right? Get yourself a notebook. Now this one I didn't do like I did my last one, which I think my last one is sitting. Ouch! Over here. And this is my last one I did. Now, I did this because this helped me heal. This drawing actually helped me heal. And I do believe in that. Process all, release your fear, build and create joy in your life, witness and experience everything, heal and remember all. I truly believe in that. There's reasons I believe in all of that. Much happier times, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Christine. And thank you, Para. Yeah, I wanted to be up on a mountain. I wanted to be up on a mountain during sunset, or the beginning of sunset. Standing there going, yes! Did it! I accomplished. I got through all this shit. And then down here we have an ET ship. And that is actually one that I have seen. Maybe I can get a... oh. I have seen one like that. That said, I should probably end this, but basically, your experience is going to be different. Some of the 3-foot tallers, trace, not so nice. Some of them are short and stocky, and others are short and super thin. That's the other thing to take into consideration. I have had ones that are the stockier ones not be so nice. Whereas the other ones that are short and like pencil thin, I mean, just everything about them is thin, but like a bobblehead. They're the ones that, I mean, they're okay. They're not the greatest, but they're okay. Then I've actually worked with ones that are 4 feet tall. They're, I gotta do this again. They are, okay, here's 4, 11, 410. Yeah, they're 410 to 5, 410 to 5, 410 to 5.5. I had to think about that a minute. And the shorter ones work. They're form of clones. They've and they were wonderful. So, then you've got that aspect of it. There are some that are mechanical. Some of the 3-foot tallers, I know people that have had a lot of experience with them, and they have described their experience with them as the ones that they experience are mechanical. I've not experienced that. I've experienced ones that are completely biological. There's no mechanics, no nothing about them. There are also ones you don't mess with. That's what I remember about them. Some are just wicked. Just wicked. Anybody else with other questions before I go? Oh, there was one like that in a movie from around 1980. Yeah. I've seen ones without noses, just slits. Kind of reminds me of the movie, the character Voldemort from Harry Potter. The 2 slits on the nose. Ugh. For a nose, not on the nose. I've seen them with... The only thing I could call them is a snout. Oh, what else do you call it? It's like, comes out to a snout. More reptilian-like than they are gray. I've seen ETs that look completely human, but yet they're telepathic. I mean, like, hard freaking core telepathic. No, it's just ask Para. It's okay. I think this is just going to be one of those nights where I go 2 hours. It's totally okay. But I do want to end it at 9. I really didn't think I was going to go over, but and then I found out, because I'm not enthusiastic about that person. So I'm that, and that's all right. Everybody's got a different take on different people, and I get that. I get that I'm not going to be somebody else's cup of tea, whereas that other person is going to be their cup of tea. So I get it. I totally get it. So anyway, so ask away, Para. Ask. Yeah, Christine, Para, you always ask great questions. He really does. I mean, he comes up some with there have been some mind-bending questions he has asked that I'm very impressed with. Alice, do different races interact with one another? Yes. Not all, but yes, they do. Christine, he knows how to word things. Yes, he does. I very much agree. Okay. Para, you seemed, understandably, to have a problem with the aliens abducting folks. Would you ever go the alien hunter route? Okay. You just opened up a hell of a door. We may be here all night. Oh, holy crap. Here we go, folks. That's an excellent question, Para. Yeah, you told me to. Yes, I did, sir. Okay. Okay, you seemed understandably to have a problem with aliens abducting folks. Would you ever go the alien hunter route? Yes, and I have. I will go with you. Yes, please. There are certain, how do I say this? I'm trying to be very careful with how I say this, because not only can I manifest, I usually manifest pretty quickly. And I want to be real careful with how I word this. So there are races of ET that, yes, I have hunted. I already know this, and I know it from the memories that I've got as a pilot. I literally just got told by my dad, well, there's an incident that you could tell them about. I'm sure it would be okay to talk about. I'm like, Dad, Dad. There was a situation to where, I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to talk about. Yeah, he's right. It's okay to talk about. Wink. There's a situation that arose that I know where I was a pilot. Before they canned my ass and put me in, I was in my 40s when they canned my ass. It was because of my back injury. I was in my early 40s when they canned my ass, or I was 40, I just turned 40 because it was my back injury, and I was trying to figure out a way to calm the amount of pain down, and the only way that I could do that was to calm my brain. Ouch! To calm my brain down. Sorry, my fingers are popping. To calm my brain down so that I could, because I was a type A personality. I mean, type A personality. I was constantly moving, constantly going, do. Anybody that knew me back then knows. I mean, I was getting shit done. And because of my back injury, I had to rechange my brain, and I worked on it. And now they're like, "Oh, you're too slow. Your brain's too slow. We've got to shut your consciousness off and go to your higher consciousness, and that's why you can do things, and that's why you're not remembering, because you've slowed your brain down too much. You're a liability more than." And I'm like, oh. So I've retrained my brain, and I've gotten it not up to speed to where I want it to be, but it's getting there. I'm rebuilding, basically. Not enough and not fast enough for them, but too effing bad. Anyway, so I'm avoiding. Sorry, folks, I'm avoiding. So there was a situation where, as a pilot, I was protecting my men and women, and there was, how do I say this? Something that arose, and it got really nasty, and I did something that I shouldn't have done, and I went hunting, which is why I call it hunting, because that's what it is. I don't remember all of it. I remember bits and pieces of it, and I know it was me, and I know it was me. And I just got told not to say which clone body I was in because it would tell them what they have to do. Holy shit, I didn't know that. Thank you, Dad. Holy shit. I was just about to say it, too. So basically, I was in one of my clone bodies, and yeah, I'm being watched in a big way. I took care of a situation that needed to be dealt with because it put my people in such danger. I don't know how to say this. I basically took them out. And I took a small group of, I took them out. But I have bits and pieces of memory of it. Yes, and I'm not answering that. Para is asking, is there a particular species that tend to hunt more than other? Oh, tend to hunt. That's not what I thought you asked. It's not what I thought you asked at all. Particular species that you tend to hunt more than others. Oh, you did ask it. Okay, is there a particular species that you tend to hunt more than others? Yeah, the government does. Not so much me, but the government does. I know it, but it's like I can feel it. I'm being stopped from saying it. Um, how do I explain that? I'm literally, it's like I can't reach it. It's like really far in the back, far reaches of my far reaches in my brain. It's off to my left. It's like I can. It's like I'm trying to reach for. I'm trying to grab, and I can't get it. That's very frustrating to me. So maybe, hopefully, that's something that you guys can say, hey, get Nikki to get her memory to open that up because we want to know. Oh, that's easy. Some of them don't exist. Para, if you exterminate one, what do you do with the body or bodies? Or is this happening off? No, this is off world. Some of the bodies, they, I want to say implode. That's not the word. Some bodies fall where they're at. Other bodies, it depends on what it depends on what the ET is made from. It depends on what their organs are made out of. It depends on what they, yeah, they go poof. Some of them, yeah, disintegrate is another word. There's a vaporize. Yeah. I don't know what disintegrate or vaporize. I don't know what the right word is, but they're not there anymore. There is no body to recover. Then there are ETs where there is a body to recover. I know I've been in charge of a cleanup crew, but I'm not calling up. I can feel it in me, but it's not calling up. It's like it's distant. So I know that there is a cleanup crew, but it's distant. Um, yes. Oh God, I can't remember how to say your name again. Um, hang on one second. I gotta go back up. Okay. Um, Para, why did you say that name? I don't mean WYSIWYG. I mean the other one. Um, okay. There's a reason why I'm taking my time here. That's a name that I take real issue with. No, you didn't put me in a bad spot, sweetie. Okay, I don't know what that person's claims are anymore because I didn't want anything to do with them after 2019, after what happened to me. Do you know others who do this as a service? As a service, no. As a... Oh, that's a good name for him, in my opinion, Amy. After what I experienced in 2019, I don't have anything nice to say. Nothing nice whatsoever. Ever. Matter of fact, I have an incredible anger and dislike. Trying not to use the H word. H word for me is hate. So, WYSIWYG was asking, WYSIWYG104 was asking, do you know others who do this as a service? No, not as a service. Regarding, it depends on, as a service, what specifically you're asking about. Do you mean the hunting? Or do you mean removal of device? There's not many doctors who actually do that anymore. The last two that I know about, they're deceased. They're on the other side. You got to be extremely careful in this ufology community as to who you trust, in who you open up to, who you talk to about this, and who you allow access to any ET device that is in your body. Be careful with what they're using it for. I know it's evidence, but be careful who you give your information to and your devices to, if you ever get them out. Hunting. Okay. Do I know others that as a service? In the paranormal, yes, I do. Regarding the ETs that actually hunt, people that actually hunt, human beings that actually hunt, that are conscious of it, no, I do not know. I'm sure there are. There are certain... I gotta be careful with how I want to say this. There are certain people that if they are doing that, I would be very, 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 very careful with them. One, you don't know if they are some deep form of government. You don't know if they have their own agenda. You don't know if they... there's a lot you don't know. And somebody that does do that in the physical, in this, quite honestly, it would be extremely difficult to do, because if they are a race of ET that do the abductions, then they may, not all of them do, they may have the ability to different frequency, go into their different frequency form, like a Sasquatch does. Not all Sasquatches can do it, but the ones that do it are very in-depth at it. And they can change their frequency in such a way that you can literally... you're not going to see them. You may smell them. You may feel their energy, but you ain't going to see them. I'm here to tell you. Been an example to that. I've had hello. Well, that's interesting. How the hell did that get on my phone? Well, that's just peachy. Huh. So you've got to be real careful with who you put your trust into in this community. Very careful, because there are people that have been doing in this community for 20 years or more, 18 and more, and they, in my opinion, have been corrupted for whatever reason. Life changes, people change, all of that happens. But there are people in this community you've got to be very, 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 very careful of. Very careful of. Very careful with who you follow. Very careful with who you give information to. I'm not saying being... Ouch, 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 ouch. High pitch pain. Sorry, guys. Hang on a second. Okay, Doc. There's one of your other high pitches. You're the only one that has my permission to do that. Anyway, so sorry guys, I've had a lot of real nasty back pain lately, and I get high-pitched nerve pain. It is high-pitched nerve pain. It's really sharp. So be careful with who you give information to, who you follow. Unless they have proven to you time and time again that their information is trustworthy. I've talked about that openly for a long time. Be very, very careful who in this community you give information to. And be very... Oh, here's the other thing. Something came up in a chat I was in today, and one of the things that occurred to me is when you are at any event, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. When you are at any event and you're meeting somebody for the first time, I highly recommend you do not let them touch you. If you're having a really good conversation and they touch you, be very careful of that. There's a reason why I'm saying this. There are people who are extremely in-depth at trying to hypnotize people while they're in public, while they're standing there, and you're having a conversation with them. Be careful with the eye contact. Be careful with if they try to reach out and touch you. I know that part of this is coming from me as the person who has gone through an awful lot of shit. I get that. But I'm also saying this as somebody who experienced somebody else trying to force hypnotize me while I was standing in public, standing around with other people, having a conversation, and that was what they did with me, to try to hypnotize me on the spot. And then they came running back to me the following day. So did you remember? Whatever. Now, that's how I'm going to tell you. That's what I'm going to say publicly. Privately, I have said a whole hell of a lot more. And I've had it confirmed by other hypnotherapists that what was done was a form of very, very... How do I say this? I'm trying to say this very carefully so I don't get a lawsuit on my hands. I've had other professionals in that field tell me that those were techniques of somebody, of a professional who is extremely in-depth at it, tried to hypnotize me while I was standing in public having a conversation with them. There were too many factors. Way too many factors. That's just two of them. So be very freaking careful when you go to meet people. Keep your hands to yourself. Make eye contact, but be careful with that eye contact. Because I don't trust a lot of people because of what I experienced there. With that experience. There with that specific experience. Because of that one experience, because of that one individual, I take a look at people very, very freaking differently now when I am at any event. Doesn't matter if it's a paracon, a paranormal conference. Doesn't matter if it's a UFO conference, Sasquatch conference. I'm going to be careful. And I'm a very touchy, huggy, feely type of person. I mean, not feely, but I'm a hugger. If I have a good feeling about you, I'm typically going to hug you if that's doable both ways. So that said, be very careful. If you are a person who is a hugger and you come across somebody where something doesn't feel right and you can't put your finger on it, but you're needing the advice or needing the help from them, be a good 3 to 4 feet back from the person that you're talking with. Keep eye contact, but yet dart it periodically. Test them. That's what you're doing, is testing them by darting the eyes. I don't normally talk about this, but a subject came up tonight. A name came up tonight, and I'm very, very, very careful. Very specific. And there's a reason. And those that have known me for a number of years know what this is about, know who this is about, know why I am the way I am about it, and know that this traumatized me. It didn't just traumatize me. It sent 4 days later, I had government on my ass. Hard frickin' core because of that incident. So, and Amy is one of those people who knows, and she is saying right now in chat, this is interesting, please continue. In what way, Amy? About the forced hypnotization. How do you say that? I'm trying to add an ing. Forced hypnotization. There we go. There are people that will do that. You've got to be very careful. You've got to be very, very careful in this community. This is about the hypnotizing and the eyes. Okay. So Amy wants to know about hypnotizing and the eyes. So there are people out in the community who are master hypnotizers. They have done it for a living, or they have done it for, can't say what I want to say, get me into trouble. They have done it for other people. Groups. We'll call them groups. I can say the word groups. I can't say what I want to say. And because they are a master at it, all they have to do is keep eye contact with you, talk to you in a specific tone. There's a very, very specific tone that is used in this world part of hypnotization techniques. Those that are masters of it, hypnosis. Thank you, masters of hypnosis. Thank you. Oh my God, Para. Thank you so much. I'm having all kinds of problems tonight. I apologize, guys. There are masters of it. And the ones who are true masters of it it can get really convoluted for them because there's a no ethics issue that comes up with it. The person that did this to me, because of how it was done, that to me shows me that there is zero frickin' ethics for them. That this is so old hat and second nature to them to do something like this, that they would give it no freaking thought to do it to someone. WYSIWYG is asking, if people are staring, is this a kind of technique? It can be. I am not somebody who does hypnosis. I have not dealt with it. That is something that, and I'm not a pro by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not even a wannabe at it. There are people that I know that are very good at it. There are others that I know that are like, and I say, because of the fact that they may be good at hypnotizing, but they're also very good at leading. And one of the things in hypnosis regression you do not want to do is lead. Because then that can create false memories and that can create all kinds of problems in the brain. And that I take huge issue with that. But that all said, there are some people who are very good at it. The ones that are masters at it that can do what this person did to me. And thank God my body reacted the way it did and shut everything down and responded. And I thank God for the confirmation that I had because from the ones that I asked about it, because they confirmed what took place with me. They confirmed with me what happened. They were like, that's hypnosis techniques, Nikki. That's old school. Old time, old school techniques used. And there was one person that specifically told me who it was used by, what group. And I was like, how do you know? And I'm not going to tell. I'm like, oh my God, and it was vile. And it pisses me off because it is a form of, when somebody goes to do that, it is a form of mind rape. To deliberately do that to another person while you're standing there in public, that is a force of mind rape. You want to talk about ethics? I'll hit you hard with ethics, because you come at me with that shit, I'll come right back at you, and no, that's not okay. There are people, WYSIWYG, there are people that can do this and they're masters at it, and it would seem like conversation, just like any conversation. Thank God my internal, I was going to say chronometer, that's not what I mean. My internal, my higher consciousness and my internal instincts kicked in. But the confirmation of it for me was when the person came running back to me they came back to me the next day and were absolutely just adamant about what else I had remembered over the night. Paramarv, do you know if said individual was also using NLP? Very possible. Very, very, very possible. I do not know that for sure, but based on what I know of the individual and their retired work, I'm getting warned by not only my ET guide, but also my spirit guides to be very, very careful because somebody is watching and listening. WYSIWYG, I was saying I was thinking the same thing, Paramar. Hey, Blue Cruise tuned in. Hello, live chatters. Yay. Thank you for coming in, Blue Cruise. I'm an hour and 15 minutes over my time. So, anyway. So that's what today has been dealing with. Has been dealing with ETs, being an experiencer, and wow, my eyes went hazel. They were really blue. Now they went hazel. Well, that tells you how serious I got. I can always tell my eyes by what level I am, how I am doing. Wow, you look back in the earlier part of my video, my live broadcast, and they were really blue. Hi, Blue Cruise. So basically, oh, you guys in chat, you're starting to crack me up. Basically, you've got to be very careful with who you give your information to. I found out the hard way, the very, very, very hard way. And yeah, I call deliberate use of hypnosis in a public location without my permission. This person did not have my permission by any frickin' stretch of the imagination, and using an old school, old hat technique. Not okay. That's a form of mind rape in my book. No. Take great issue with it. And if I could have legally done something about it, I would have. That'd be my word against their word. So, oh, it's a Friday night. I forgot. Friday nights are always interesting here. Forgot about that. Anyhow, so regarding the different races of ET and the hunting. So, WYSIWYG. There we go. I'll get it eventually. Anyway, so WYSIWYG had asked about the hunting. There's nobody, I cannot honestly think of anybody that I know that hunts, actually physically hunts ET. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend that at all. Did you know that there are races of ET who are firmly planted here in on Earth? Sorry, I was trying to make sure that that wasn't gunshots and it was motorcycle, and it was definitely motorcycle. Anyway, I sorry for the pause, guys. So yeah, basically, there's nobody that I know that actually hunts them. There are people that I do know that hunt in the paranormal, which is very different than in the physical. I'm one of them that can do that in the paranormal. There are many others I could list, but I'm not going to do that. But there are ETs who have been living on Earth, on the surface, under the surface, in the water, for generations. So, I mean, and there are hybrids that are born on planet. I mean, there are, now here, get this, you can actually see who well, I don't know. I've been starting to really recognize a lot of hybrids lately when I come around people or online, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a hybrid, which means that they were probably their genetics were spliced and diced with their mom and dad and with some other form of ET, and the pregnancy was allowed to continue through to full human term pregnancy, whatever that was for the mother at the time. And they had a child that looked absolutely human with a few little things here and there. Bigger head up in here a bit. Eyes are very, very specific. Jaw is very, very specific. Nose is also very specific. There real you can start seeing some of the hybrids here on Earth. Some of the human hybrids here on Earth. There are many that I'm just like, wow, okay. There's and they're living like human. They're living like every human is. So WYSIWYG, there are so many pitfalls in this community. There really are. There really are. You've got to be very, very careful with who you give your information to. And if they're going to turn your information into a freaking book without your permission, or a movie for that matter, and that's not okay. But I have something that I want to have abductees come together. I want them to come together at like an event, and I'm not talking like a Paracon. I'm talking like something different. I can't quite put my finger on exactly what yet, but I'd like to see a number of like 2 or 3 locations in the United States and 2 in Canada, and at least 1 or 2 in England, UK, on UK, and 3 or 4 across Europe. And what I'm saying is I would like to see a place where ET abductees can come together, some kind of retreat center, where they can learn and come together as a group. And I know that is done at a lot of these paraconferences. This is different. I'm talking about something completely different. But I would love to see something like that across the planet, so that we can support each other, so that we can come in and go, okay, so here's the United States version of it. Here's Europe's version. Here's England's version. Here's Canada's version. That's what I want to see. There are millions of us abductees, but there's nothing really for us in that regard. And I would love to see somebody put together, like, maybe, I want to say 20 acres of land, a minimum of 20 acres of land, and have a retreat center on it, to where you're not just getting down to basics again. You're getting down to basics in a way that deals with your higher consciousness, that deals with teaching some of the ET things, so that we can get out of dealing with this forced sickness that, how do I say this? Forced sickness that the different governments are putting upon its people across the planet. with, I was going to use a different word. How do I say that now? With food that has things that shouldn't be in it, water that has things that shouldn't be in it, to where we are able to fully open up our pineal gland, to where we are able to stop the dumbing down of the society, where we come together, we take a stand, and we're going, okay, we're going to start using these gifts that we've been given, these gifts that have been advanced by the ETs, by the positive ETs, and let's start using them and putting them to good use. And I don't mean that and I mean like create our own society to where this is what is taking place. And I'm not talking about nutcases and cults and all that shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about building. The word society keeps popping up in my head, and that's not even quite the right, but a community to where we can come together in a way to where we have different pieces of property across the globe that we can go to, that we know is a safe place, that the energy is right, the ley lines on it are right, all of that woo-woo factor is done and taken care of. It's protected by family after family, ancient family. It's protected by, I was just about, and I can't say that. I can't say that publicly. But it's protected by numerous different factors. I think that we should do that. And I think that that's where those event places should come together and have activities, different activities and things, create our own event centers across the, ouch, sorry, I need to get the chair moving at this. Have all these event centers across the planet. And you look at some place like Ysetti Ranch. I'm not talking like Ysetti Ranch. I'm talking completely different. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about a place to where they're like cabins. You know, everybody can have either an individual cabin or a shared cabin, and you're coming and going. I mean, you've got your own locked room or something. I don't know. I can't think of, I can see how I want to, how I can see it. I can see it. But the finite details of it, it's putting all of that together. And I want all of us to come together and say, hey, this is our disclosure. This is what we're doing. This is how our disclosure is. We know this is real. We know this is taking, and there are millions of us. This is not just thousands. There are millions of us as abductees. Let's build on that. Let's create a better society. Keeps coming up. It's not, I don't know. The word society keeps coming up, but let's create and build a different community to where we have a location that we can go to that isn't got all the glitz and glam and high outrageous expense and all of that stuff. Let's have a number of us come together and build land. You know, a commune. Yeah, commune isn't quite, it has you have different connotations with different words. That's why I didn't use the word commune and why the word society isn't quite right. Federation is definitely not right. That just popped into my head. But there are different words that would, and I have written a lot of different things like that down, but I don't have them. Ouch! I don't have them out right now. Sorry, I got different things popping, different joints and things. But yeah, we need to come together and create a place to where we can come together, have fun, have our families come together with us if we want, or individual. have times where you have an event location to where it's just the abductees, and then you have a weekend or a week or whatever where all the families come together, the abductee with all of their family members. I mean, that's because you can teach. It's also teaching. I truly believe this needs to happen in our global society. I truly do. We need to come together and to build a better community, because the community that's out here right now is so convoluted. You get so many different factions of stuff, and you get so much shit. There's so much shit in this community, and it's really difficult. And we need to build a better community. And to do that, maybe this is one of those ways. 20 acres of land and build different, buildings and things on the site, and where people really want to come and learn. I keep hearing the word compound. Compound is not the right word either. Retreat is the only word that keeps coming up. That's the only one that really keeps popping up, and I really think that we should do this together. I think we should build this society. See, I keep using the word society. But yeah. Anyway, I didn't expect to go on this long. It's 2.5 hours. So, when it was only supposed to be an hour. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. If anybody has any more questions, Amy, I know if you wanted me to talk more, ask me a question about what you wanted me to talk more about regarding the eyes. Because I don't know where to go with that. I mean, I just know that it can be done. You can, it's there's a rate in how they speak and how the person speaks. There's a rate, there's a frequency to it. There's almost like a monotone, but it's not really monotone. No, Slavic is not the right word. There's a cadence. That's the word I was looking for. There's a cadence to how they speak, to how the person speaks to you, the one that is trying to hypnotize you in front of other people, in front of the public. She said, you said something about the eyes looking rapidly away as well. Yeah, the eyes, so if you are in that situation, one of the things that I personally would do would be to watch them, keep eye contact, but also look away periodically. That's what I was referring to. Para, I saw part of the message, but it didn't register in my brain. Yeah, Para says, sounds like NLP, neuro-linguistical programming. Well, and see, I experienced a counselor who dealt with NLP, and he didn't use it all the time. There were certain things that he did do that worked really, really well with me. That didn't have to do with the cadence. It didn't have to do with those kinds of aspects. They had to do with other things. But this individual that was standing in front of me had a cadence about the way he was talking, how he was saying things. It's like there was a frequency to it. There was a cadence is the only one that keeps coming up. Is the only phrase that actually keeps coming up that is that actually really works with it. Oh, sorry guys. Lips get this dry. Gotta go for the big guns. So Oh, now that's a psychic question, Blue Cruise. Blue Cruise is asking, is there any indication that a more cohesive experience or community will occur in our current lifetime? Oh, all right, hang on a minute. Yes, but it's going to take time. Depends on how many... Oh, it depends on how many will take an active role. If very few will take an active role, then it's going to be hard to maintain. Normals? Normalcy? Normsies? There's a phrase. Somebody's trying to get a phrase to me, and I can't quite grasp it. Paramarv to Blue Cruise. Yes, when I win the lottery. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it would take quite a bit of time. And with how government is going across this planet, it's going to get really rather interesting. So, I mean, the other side to this is going underground. Building and creating a community, but taking it, instead of on the surface, take it literally going underground. Another side to that is taking and building that kind of a community, but going underground. And I don't mean physically going underground. Oh, there's the blue eyes again. Hello. The eyes looking rapidly away. Yeah. There's ways to there's ways to, once you recognize that somebody is doing that to you regarding publicly hypnotizing. Yeah, you're welcome, Blue Cruise. Looking away, blinking your eyes quickly can make a big difference. That kind of thing, that can make it's like it does something to the brain. I can't think of what it's called, but it reactivates. It's like it reactivates your brain. Amy, I think we physically might need to go underground, that or way out in the wilderness. Yeah. Yeah, I have something that I want to have happen for me, and I get that. I understand what you're talking about. There's a lot of things that are taking place that are just absolutely appalling, and things that are going on that should not be going on, should not be happening. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it where we're going to end tonight. I don't know what next week is going to be. I don't know what next Thursdays is going to be talking about. I'll figure that out later. Might be Sasquatch. Apparently, I just had the word Sasquatch pop into my mind, and that wasn't from me. So, I'd love to have Robin Haynes come on. Hayes or Haynes? I always, honey, I'm so sorry. I always forget your last name. I'd love to have her come on, but I don't have the tech ability to do that right now. Otherwise, I would. Believe me, I would. Yep, wrong way. There we go. Haynes. Thank you, Para. I appreciate that. Could all use the extra money. Yeah, no kidding. I hear that one. Hardcore. Anyway, Be real good to yourselves, guys. Take very good care of yourself. If you are an experiencer, allow yourself some slack when you're going through this. It's not easy. The memories that I'm remembering right now, they've not been fun. They've not been pleasant, and there have been times where I have just quietly yelled and screamed. And I say quietly is like in my head, that type of thing. I don't mean physically. Every once in a while, you'll hear me scream going, "What the fuck was that?" Or, "Where the hell did that come from?" There will be times where I will say stuff like that, or, "What the hell was that?" Simply because I have had a flashback of a memory, and it was so shocking and so appalling that it's yeah, it's always appreciated, except by our government. Wink, wink. Exactly, Paramarv. You gotta take care of yourself, and you gotta do what you can for yourself. This stuff is not easy. It's not easy to remember. It's not easy to. It's not easy going through the memories. That's what I'm trying to say very inarticulately. But when you do, allow yourself, cut yourself some slack, allow yourself to go through the emotions that you need to go through. That's one of the biggest things that I will preach that till I'm blue in the face. You've got to be careful with yourself. It's okay to remember these things. Yeah, it can be scary sometimes, but you need to find your own community, the people who will support you. And that's what I mean. Okay? Find those that support you in whatever way is possible. Be good to yourself. It's okay. These memories may not be fun. They may be quite traumatic, in fact, where some might be kind of cool and others are not so much. I have memories that I deeply treasure, and I have memories that I absolutely despise. One of my biggest treasure memories is being allowed to remember holding my hybrid children. That's a treasure moment for me. Moments. I've got over 26 kids, so that's one of my very treasured memories. One of my most hated memories, and I do use the word hate, is when I had a military government piece of shit ass hat standing behind me, screaming at me in my... Well, actually, on a couple of occasions, he actually had his hand on my shoulder, bent down and yelling in my ear, but because he was trying to give the person direct orders, and I wasn't verbally stating them because I knew for a fact that would get that person killed. And I wasn't going to put him... I wasn't going to do that. And it's like, those are orders. Those are his orders. You will follow my orders or you are out. And I'm like, well, then I'm out. And I telepathically told the person, this is what they're trying to kill you. And this is what they're trying to get you to do. These are the orders. I have seen it. You will die. And it will be incredibly painful. And I put a stop to it. And I got into trouble for it, big time. Unfortunately, the person ended up dying. They still got him killed. And I absolutely... Do I hate that person? Yes, I do. Every cell in my body hates that. I was about to say his name. And then you have folks where they're like, well, that's part of military. That's part of being military, Nikki. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm not military, but yet I was put into this position to where I'm supposed to act like it. Fuck you. I made choices. I made the choice not to be military in this lifetime for a very damn good reason. And this is what you're doing? No. Those are my choices in this lifetime, and you're fucking those choices up. I take real issue with that. Yes, Blue Cruise, Haynes. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So that's you got one of my most beloved memories and one of my most hated. When I saw that man die in front of my eyes. And I knew damn well it was because of that fucking commander. So yeah, I have things that I treasure, and I have things that I hate. And I have people I really dislike. For damn good reason. And will my soul, because hating is not positive. Hating is a very negative thing, and it's very detrimental on the soul. So I work really hard at not hating. This one's going to take me a while for what I witnessed, what I experienced. It's going to take me a while to get through that. And I could say, look how long it took me to overcome. I was just going to say the situation, but it's none of your business, so I'm not going to say it. But it is a situation that it took me a long time to recover from and not hate the person. So you do what you have to do. You do what you have to do to take care of yourself, both mentally and physically and emotionally. And you work through this. And that is why I want a safe place where everybody can come. Number of safe places across this planet. So everybody can come. Those that are true abductees can come and do things. Be a community. Be a real community. Be involved. It also gets the word out, because once it's like ants, once they've got their stuff from the nest, it spreads it out. And that's how to get word out. And that's a pretty big... What the hell is going on with this? Well, this is interesting. Okay. There we go. Now maybe my phone will behave, please. Anyway, on that note, behaving. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it. But if you have questions, I'm going to leave it for about another minute before I shut everything down. Type them in, and I'll try and answer. But be good to yourself while you're going through these experiences, because it's not easy. And like I've talked about before, there are people who their wives don't know, their husbands don't know, their kids don't know, their sisters don't know, brothers don't know, mothers, fathers. And the funny thing is those family members may very well be being abducted with you, and you don't remember it yet. Because it is a form of repressed memories, but there are also blocked memories. There are also screen memories. And I know people that don't believe that in this community. They're like, there's no such thing as blocked memories. Bullshit. Yes, there is. If you honestly believe that there are no blocked memories, you're living in a lie. I can attest to it. They deliberately put a block on your memories. But there are also repressed memories, and those are memories that happen when the person cannot handle them. So, it's kind of a big deal. It's when the consciousness just cannot handle it. And thankfully, mine are a combination of both, and that's the reason why I'm like, you're living in a fallacy, dude. If you honestly believe that there's no such thing as blocked memories, you're living in a fallacy. Land of make-believe, because they do have the ability to do that. They do have the ability to work with the brain in a very, very, very specific way. Hello, look how many thousands of years advanced they are in comparison to us. Some of them are extremely advanced. And many of them do want to help. Ouch. Many of them do want to help humans, whereas others just don't give a shit. You know? So there are many different groups of ET. And I can't believe I'm still babbling. I apologize, guys. Anyway, there are many different kinds of ETs. Some good, some positive, and others not so good, and still others who are violent. So, I mean, it's just like us. We are all of that, all rolled up into humanity. Well, ETs are like that. There are some who are very much like the Vulcans in TV show, movie series, Star Trek. There are others who are very much very different. I mean, it's just, there's so many different races. It's incredible. Before I forget, I kept hearing last night. See if I can find it again. What the hell is the word? There's a specific phrase that keeps popping up. Let's see if I can find you. Hopefully I can do it rather quickly. If there's any other questions, ask now. Para, if I had a magic wand that allowed me to remember all the repressed memories, or I could make you forget all those memories, which would you prefer? Or neither? Oh. Well, in answer to that, Para, one of the things that I said last week, let's see, now I'm starting to forget it. I know I wrote it down. It really sucks when you're trying to... Oh, I had a missing time episode yesterday, or on this... Yeah, on the 16th. I forgot about that. Kind of funny that I forgot about it. Anyway, yeah, a missing time episode. I knew there was something I was going to tell you guys about. Anyway. All right. Well, apparently I'm not finding the damn word. But of course. Anyway, so what would I prefer? Well, okay, I'm going to tell you what I've stated in the past. I've stated I've wanted all my memories. Here's what I got told by the other side. The other side has told me, as well as told some friends who are psychic, you don't want to know all, because all can be truly horrifying, and it will be so shocking that you will not be able to comprehend all of it. Sorry, I've got body parts that are just popping like crazy. Just driving me nuts. I apologize. So if you're hearing any of the snapping and the popping, I apologize. So it's too overwhelming. It's too much. And they're not willing So I have to phrase it in a very specific way. I have to be very specific. I want all my memories that will not truly harm me, and ones that I can wrap my brain around. Oh, Para, ask all the questions you want. You always have free reign of asking questions. Anybody does. Ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask them. Even if it's at the end of a show, ask them. I may not be able to respond right then and there, but I will definitely get it written down, and we'll talk about it on the next broadcast. But yeah, that's what I got told, is that when I want, because I want to remember all of them. I want to remember everything. Well, just like with that guy dying right in front of my eyes, watching him be murdered, and having an officer stand behind me yelling and screaming at me. That was a hard one for me to remember. I lost my shit over it. I'm still not okay about it. I'm better than I was a few weeks ago, but I'm not okay about it. And they know that if I truly found out everything, I don't honestly know what I would do. But I want everything that can prove. I want my memories that can prove what I'm talking about. And the interesting thing is that the other side knows that I'm being watched by government. They also know, and I know I'm being watched. So when I talk about like the 380 million and the flight hangar bay, I need to write that down. Flight hangar. Here we go. Flight hangar and hangar bay. That they know that I'm telling, specific ones know that I'm telling the truth. Oh, somebody listened to me about the female that I talked about last week. That's good. Don't get me wrong, I can't stand her, but it's good that something's being done in a progressive, protective way. Can't stand either of them. That's beside the point. So, what else? I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that's it. Truly, honestly believe that's it now. Okay, guys. Thank you for coming and listening to the rantings or the ravings, whatever you want to call this. But thank you for listening. Thank you for coming in and just even having an open mind to even approach the subject. It's a big deal. Not many will, because they look at this community as full of shit, and they have for years and years and years, which is really sad. So, and unfortunately for them and for those like them, things are going to start really changing in the next, this year to 6 years from now. 5 years. I gotta think about what year it is. 6 years. Next 6 years. So from 2024 to 2030. Oh, it's going to get interesting. There's aspects of it that are like any other day. It's just going to go by like another day. And then there's going to come times when there's going to be a lot going on. So be careful with the fake things that the government is doing regarding setting certain things up to make it look like an invasion. That's such bullshit. Excuse me. Those of us in the know, we know that it's bullshit, that it's their form of control and manipulation so that they can gain more control over the population of this planet. So just do your due diligence. Be respectful, but be aware. Take notice of things. It's really what's going to, take notice, take action. You got to be careful how you take your action. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to say adios. Thank you again. It is most appreciated for coming. Thank you. Very, very appreciated. If you have any questions, you can email me. Oh, thank you. It is next Friday. See, I haven't gotten my email. So it is next Friday. Okay. Well, that's an official thing. Hey, folks, I'm going to be on the Social Digg with Rob G on Friday night. Ba-dum-bum. Next Friday night. I got to remember that. I got to put that down. Hang on. Thank you, Rob. Rob. Friday. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Friday or Saturday, so that's why I'm glad you said it. Blue Cruise, excellent and very deep live stream content tonight. Yeah. Very much so. That was a lot talked about. And Rob, we can hit any subject. I mean, seriously, it doesn't have to be what I had talked about. So, I mean, if you want to talk about the soldier stuff, that's fine. It's all part and parcel. Anyway, that's it, folks. I'm 3 hours, 2 minutes in, and this was only supposed to be an hour long. So, hello, we hit a lot of topics tonight. We could talk about ping pong. Extraterrestrials and children. Yep. That's the subject next Wednesday with Rob, is extraterrestrials and children. Yep. On that note, folks, I wish you good night. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Like I said, from the heart, take very good care of yourself. Be good to yourself. Do a lot of deep breathing, appropriate deep breathing. You don't want to get lightheaded. And just remember to build and create positivity in your life if you can. Find little ways to do it. There are so many different little ways to go about doing it, but build it, create it, work on it, because you are your source of happiness. Nobody else around you, but you. Those are facts. Nobody can make you feel anything. You're the one who feels it. Just because people are being assholes around you, that's on them. But if they're putting it out on you, you have a right to respond. But you don't have to take their crap in. I've had to learn that on a long way around. I highly recommend all of that. So just do your due diligence for yourself, my friends. Take good care. I'm babbling now. I preach to the choir. Anyway, take very good care. Bye. Stay safe. Oh, please like, share, and subscribe. Oh, thank you, Rob. Rob says, keep putting out that positive energy. The world needs it, Nikki. Yeah, it's hard to do. It's hard to do when you got a lot of different pieces of shit in your life. But you have to. I mean, seriously, it makes a major difference in a person's life. It really does. It's hard to do because I know folks that don't know, haven't experienced it. So it's kind of a big deal. Blue Cruise, looking forward to potentially catching Nikki live next Friday on the Social Digg. Yes, it is Friday. If he says it's Friday, it's Friday. Looking forward to talking next week about ETs and children that play ping pong. Yeah. Bye, guys. I can go on forever. Oh, 5 p.m. Pacific. Okay. Thank you, dear. Hang on. Yeah. Hang on. I want to write this down. I know I could do that later, but with the way I am right now, I need to eat again. Anyway, bye, guys. Take good care. I really am going now. Okay. Breathe in. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Nice deep breath and release. Feel it all the way down to the tailbone and let it go. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice night. Bye, guys.